Ouagadougou, 2023. The peace conference buzzed with diplomats and delegates from across Africa and Europe. Inside the marble-floored hall, men in tailored suits shuffled papers and traded thin smiles. At the back of the room, a tall man in a modest dark blazer raised his hand. Before he could speak, a sharp voice echoed across the microphone. "You there! Don't interrupt." All heads turned toward the French envoy, a grey-haired man with a sharp nose and colder eyes. "You're not on the speakers list," he snapped. "Soldiers shouldn't pretend to understand diplomacy." Polite laughter scattered across the room. A younger French assistant smirked, whispering just loud enough, "He probably thinks peace talks are target practice." The man in the dark blazer, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, stood his ground. "I represent this nation, and I have the right to—" "No," the envoy snapped. "You represent silence. This is a room for statesmen, not uniforms in disguise." Before another word could be said, conference security approached and lightly touched Traoré's arm. "Please wait outside." Phones came up. Cameras rolled. A wave of amused murmurs swept through the audience as Traoré was led towards the exit. But even as he left, his face was calm, controlled. His eyes never left the envoy. And when the doors closed behind him, he made a call. One word: now. Just hours later, the peace conference was shaken again, but not by diplomats, by soldiers. Burkina military police entered the building, orderly, composed, unmistakable in their red berets. At the head of their formation walked the same man who had been shamed only hours before. But this time, Ibrahim Traoré no longer wore a modest blazer. He wore the presidential sash of Burkina Faso. Gasps rippled through the room. Cameras clicked wildly. The French envoy went pale. "I am not just a captain," Traoré said into the mic. "I am the president of Burkina Faso, and I will speak now." The room froze. Traoré continued. "This morning I was mocked for defending my people's right to self-determination. I was silenced for demanding respect. But I do not serve for applause. I serve for peace, with dignity." The French envoy stood, sputtering. "You have no right to—" Traoré raised a document. "Effective immediately, all military cooperation agreements with the French Republic are terminated. All foreign military presence must vacate within 72 hours. Chaos broke loose. Security escorted the stunned envoy and his assistant from the hall. Outside, protesters cheered as news of the expulsion broke. Phones filmed every step as the envoy was shoved into a car. The clip would soon hit millions of views. Inside, Traoré turned to the room and said, "Peace built on condescension is not peace. It is control." He stepped away from the podium, but the message echoed louder than any treaty. News broke like a tidal wave. Burkina Faso expels French envoy. President Traoré shames colonial arrogance. Social media erupted. France scrambled. Within 48 hours, a government spokesperson delivered a rare televised apology, citing unacceptable behaviour by its envoy. The world watched in stunned silence. Meanwhile, the French military bases across Burkina Faso were vacated. One by one, flags came down. Locals gathered at the fences, clapping as soldiers packed up and left. In Ouagadougou, the land once used as foreign barracks was transformed. Bulldozers cleared barbed wire. Artists painted peace murals. Families picnicked under trees where soldiers once marched. A new sign was raised. Parc de la Dignité, the Dignity Park. Traoré returned to the site days later, walking beside schoolchildren planting flowers. He smiled as one of them asked, "Will they come back?" "Not if we stay strong," he said, kneeling beside her. "Peace belongs to the people." His speech from the conference became the most watched video in the country's history. millions reposted a single quote. Freedom has no translator. It speaks the language of action. From Mali to Senegal, Traoré's name rang out at student rallies and town halls. To many, he was no longer just a president. He was a symbol of sovereignty. The annual Independence Festival arrived with more pride than ever before. Streets were draped in flags. Children wore ribbons of red, green, and gold. Songs once censored by foreign oversight now played freely on loudspeakers. At the heart of Ouagadougou, Traoré addressed a crowd of thousands. Today, we do not celebrate hatred, we do not mock others, but we do declare one truth: peace does not ask permission. He pointed toward the newly opened Dignity Park, visible behind the stage, where once foreign boots marched, today our children play. The crowd erupted, flags waved, dancers filled the square. Across the globe, footage of the celebrations reached millions. A trending hashtag rose to the top. #, flag of freedom, #. In interviews, global leaders praised Traoré's commitment to national agency. Peace organizations nominated Burkina Faso's transformation as a model of peaceful sovereignty. The former French envoy remained absent from all public affairs. Meanwhile, Burkina Faso invested in its own diplomatic academy, training a new generation of negotiators, born not from submission, but from strength. Traoré, walking alone through the park days later, paused by a bench. A plaque read, "Peace without respect is silence. Peace with pride is forever." He nodded, his hands behind his back. Doves flew overhead, and in the digital sky of voices and hashtags, one name carried the wind: the flag bearer of freedom.